Geoff Cook, you're the CEO of Meet Group. Thank you so much for your time today and interviewing. We've had a couple of interviews in the past. We interviewed in 2013, 2014, 2016, and it's 2018, so it's about time we had another interview. I'd love to hear more about how the harmonization of bringing Scout and Tagged and Meet Me onto a common platform is going. I know that's a challenge for whenever I've talked to dating companies that are revamping a single platform. It's always tough. So to actually harmonize onto multiple companies onto one platform is an amazing challenge. How's that going?
Yeah, so it's actually going quite well. So when we say, and the reason is because I think video is a brand new product, live streaming video, which is what we're in the process of rolling out to all of our apps. It's a brand new product. It was a brand new product for each of them. So, Meet Me got it first, and we built this Meet Me video solution. And then we began acquiring other apps in order to enable video on them. And so we started with the Scout app in October of 16, then the Tagged app, April 17, the Lavoo app, October of 17. And in each case, we brought our video solution, which is now kind of a series of libraries, into each app. And so in the case of Lavoo, for example, which is our most recent acquisition, also our largest, we sent a small team to Germany and began work in March. So we acquired them in October, began work in March. And by late May, we began rolling out video to certain geographies. And by end of July, we had completed the rollout to the largest geography, which is Germany. So that went extremely well. I mean, it can't really go much. I mean, it only took a few months really to fully video enable a very large app in the form of Lavoo. So I think overall things are going quite well. There are some, of course, challenges in putting together some disparate apps, at least in different geographies, but all of those apps kind of have the same purpose, which is meeting new people. They all respond well to video, which is what we expected. It's good to see it's what's happening. And the teams are very talented. And so I think, there's been, it's gone about as well as it could, and we're kind of well ahead of the plan we set on how long it would take to video enable.
So you rolled out video on Lavoo in France and Switzerland in May, and then Spain and Italy in June, and Germany in July. Have you noticed any difference between how that's been received? Any surprises in user behavior across those different geographics?
I think probably the bigger surprise is just how similar these audiences are to each other. There are some, and I'll get into, there are some differences, but fundamentally, we started building this video product back in October of 16. And we did that because we saw it working on Momo, the large, Chinese dating app that video enabled. And, they're a public company traded in New York. And they would put out this information about in their quarterly filings about their share of their users who were broadcast or who were viewing or broadcasting. And they launched at like 13-14% of their DAU in video. Over 6 quarters, they got to 24%, and then they stopped giving that stat.
Yeah.
We saw a very similar. And obviously they're Chinese, China-based app. Their audience is almost entirely Chinese. For Meet Me, we actually saw a very similar stat. We got to 25+% within about 4 quarters. Scout is very similar to that. Tagged is in the same ballpark as that. And Lavoo, of course, just launched, but it seems like users there are really appreciating the video product, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it get to north of 20%. That's a question of some time, question of some additional placements that we have elsewhere, but I think we'll get there. So I think that fundamentally it's the similarities that really mark, very widespread, disparate audiences. German, sizable audience, U.S. sizable audience ends up looking just like China in terms of the share of users willing to engage in video. And I think what it's reflecting is the fact that live streaming fits into a dating context in a particularly interesting way. And so all these dating apps, they all have lulls in the product where, you don't get enough people to chat with. You have a subset of males focusing their attention on a subset of females. And so there's many males and females kind of left out. And in those periods where you might go to this dating app to kind of cure your loneliness, and instead you end up feeling more lonely, live streaming video essentially enables you to replace those feelings of loneliness with feelings of entertainment, where you can actually engage with the broadcaster. They'll answer your questions. They'll smile at you. They'll say your name. It's actually solving, and it doesn't change at all, which is probably really interesting. The fact that, you still might want to find someone to meet up with in real life. 56% plus of our users of live say they meet up in real life with someone they met on Meet Me. So I mean, it hasn't changed at all, the fundamental desire to kind of connect and meet someone up in real life, but it gives you something else to do in these down moments, and it monetizes extraordinarily well. I mean, that's probably the most impressive aspect of it.
How are you monetizing differently from Momo in that respect with video?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's hard to say exactly on the monetization metric how ours compares to theirs, but I can say that.
But in terms of how it's presented, in terms of
in terms of how it's presented.
Yeah.
So
from the user perspective.
So the way that it essentially works is there's a tab in the app called Live, and broadcasters can broadcast, and every day we have maybe 100,000 broadcasters, 750,000 plus viewers, and these viewers are watching these broadcasts. You can have multiple broadcasters inside the same stream, and the viewers can give gifts to the broadcaster, and think of it as almost like a tip. The gifts actually convey value that can later be claimed as a cash reward to the broadcaster. And so the broadcasters actually can make money by doing this. And so, I think that's fundamentally how the monetization works. And we went from 0 in October of revenue, October of 17, when we launched gifts on Meet Me, to a 37 million run rate business by July. And so then that's really with respect to two apps really at full bore, which is Meet Me and Scout. And, because Tagged had only gotten it in April, and Lavu had really not even gotten it yet. So, I think we're certainly optimistic that we'll be able to continue to grow that number.
And now you mentioned at NOAA conference that 80% of your business is international. Does that bring any particular challenges?
Sure. So I mean, it is an international business. I think the U.S. is still a fundamentally very important market to us. It's the number one country for our Meet Me app, our Tagged app, and our Scout app. Now, Meet Me and Tagged, it's number one with a bullet. For Scout, it's fairly distributed base, but still a very clear number one. Lavu is really our European play. So I mean, their core markets are Germany, with a bullet. Half of their audience is German. Austria, Switzerland, France, Italy, Spain. That's really what the Lavu core is. I think whenever you put companies together, some of the challenges are around just coming together of the leadership teams, having open lines of communication, being clear with expectations, and ultimately, realizing the point of putting these companies together. And in our case, it's easy to express the point of putting these companies together. Our intention is to video enable every property we own. And so, it helps. Success kind of breeds success. So if the team sees that video is actually catching on, that actually, oh, this audience, even though I maybe never thought of it as a video audience, engages in it and it monetizes, it's a much easier sell, and gets increasingly easy as it goes on. But the team in Dresden, it's mostly a Dresden-based team. There's some team in Berlin too. They're just very talented, put together over a number of years. It's relatively mature. It's still a startup field, but it's a mature organization that has kind of been through a lot together and very tight knit team. So I think we benefit from that.
And Levu is innovating with Bitcoin as well. You've been accepting Bitcoin on Levu since November. Are people really using it?
So Levu is very innovative. I think they're at the forefront. We view their teams as important to our own R&D efforts. We really see them as core to our operation. And as it relates to Bitcoin, I mean, I don't think that it's a dramatic driver of their subscriptions or in-app purchases by any means. But I think that they felt, the team there felt like it was an interesting future opportunity.
Gotcha. And you are a new media innovator within the context of dating and social discovery. So I've got to play around with these new modes of payment as well.
Yeah.
Are you still at this stage? You've been very acquisitive. You're one of the acquirers of choice in the space. What are you still looking for acquisitions, or are you taking a breather for a while?
So, I think we've said in the past, after we acquired Levu, because we were very active, right? There was a period of time where within 12 months, we acquired 3 properties that were all sizable, all $50+ million deals each. And so, I think we said after we did Levu, we were digesting. We certainly want to get Levu Levu video monetizing. Levu in general is just doing tremendously well beyond video, but we really wanted to see Levu video monetize the whole thesis, obviously for the deal. And so, I think the way I'd characterize it is, we'll act opportunistically. If we think there's an opportunity to video enable an audience that interests us, whether in a new market or an existing market, we'll look at it. I wouldn't say we're chomping at the bit, but I think the way this landscape kind of plays out is, you have to be willing to look.
Great. Geoff Cook, you're the CEO and co-founder of Meet Group. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.